George Gilder just released a peculiar presentation. He claims Trump is creating super soldiers and this will create an $11 trillion investing opportunity. In this video, I will fact check all the major claims George makes and I'll reveal the stock he wants you to buy so you don't have to buy his newsletter. No paid or proprietary info is given away in this video, and it's all guesswork based on clues in a publicly available sales presentation. George doesn't really have a recent track record for me to look at, so let's just jump into analyzing the presentation. The presentation starts by showing what they claim is the first prototype of a real-life invisibility cloak. They say this miracle material can already shield someone from certain types of cameras, making them functionally invisible. But it gets even wilder from there. They claim that soon, this technology could allow someone to completely blend into a forest, or even have a plane land on a runway completely unseen. They literally reference Wonder Woman's invisible plane and say the company expects to have a functioning invisibility cloak ready for the public within just a few short years. But the invisibility stuff is just the beginning. This presentation describes a material that looks like a regular pile of black dust, or powder, that has absolutely incredible properties. They claim it's 200 times stronger than steel, thin as a piece of paper, light enough to wear as a t-shirt, and completely bulletproof. Not only that, but they say it can withstand temperatures of 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit, resist acids, and even purify or desalinate water. If this sounds too good to be true, well, let's just say your skepticism might be warranted. So what the heck is George talking about in this presentation? He's talking about graphene. Graphene really is approximately 200 times stronger than steel. It really is thinner than paper. In fact, it's just one atom thick. It really is incredibly lightweight and has exceptional properties. So on this front, the presentation is actually being truthful about the material properties. But there's a big difference between a material having amazing properties in a laboratory setting and that material being ready for mass production and commercial applications. Graphene has been called a wonder material for over a decade, but we're still working on scaling up production and finding cost-effective ways to use it in real-world applications. Also, the presentation features a quote from Major Jamie Schwant of the U.S. Army Reserves, calling this one of the most significant technological breakthroughs in the past 18 years. I actually looked this up, and Major Jamie Schwant is a real person. However, George spelt his last name wrong. He's a legitimate U.S. Army Reserve officer and logistics expert who has written about graphene for the Association of the United States Army. He did indeed call graphene one of the most significant technological breakthroughs, so this quote appears to be legitimate. However, it's worth noting that his comments were about graphene's potential in general, not about any specific company or investment opportunity. Now we get to the big claim, that graphene represents an $11.5 trillion market opportunity. I researched the actual market sizes for all the related technologies. The global graphene market is projected to grow from about $694 million to $941 million in 2025, reaching maybe 2.3 to 8.3 billion by 2035, 2030 to 2032. The metamaterials market is valued at about $779 million and might reach 2.6 to 6.9 billion by 2030 to 2033. Even the entire aerospace and defense materials market, which includes everything from titanium to advanced composites, is only about $20 to $24 billion, projected to reach maybe 28 to 36 billion by 2030. So where does $11.5 trillion come from? Nowhere. Even if you added up every single advanced materials market in the world, you wouldn't get close to $11.5 trillion. This number appears to be completely fabricated. So, just to summarize everything, graphene is genuinely an incredible material with properties that could revolutionize many industries. Research into metamaterials and invisibility technology is legitimate and ongoing. Military applications of advanced materials are being actively explored. The problem isn't with the science, it's with the timeline and the investment claims. These technologies are in various stages of research and development, but they're not ready for mass commercialization, and they certainly don't represent a near-term trillion-dollar investment opportunity. Here's the specific clues George leaves for the graphene stock he's pitching. Luckily, the investment I reveal in this special report is the only way right now for everyday folks to profit from this graphene megatrend through a public company. And with this special investment, anyone can get started today with as little as a few dollars. Most folks have no idea this special investment even exists, never mind how to access it. But in just a few minutes, you can have access to my report. In it, I share the details on how to profit from this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In fact, I'm convinced that investing in this specific company as fast as possible is the number one way to tap into the graphene production surge before it happens. Because this company has used graphene's miracle properties to develop state-of-the-art graphene nanobots. This company's graphene nanobots are so pinpoint accurate at detecting fraud and counterfeits. Multiple billion-dollar industries are already clamoring for its technology. In fact, the company just signed a multi-million-dollar deal to track cancer cells in medical patients. and it is already on the cusp of signing more deals with the $7.2 billion gene therapy industry, the $25.9 billion bioprocessing industry, and the $818 billion diagnostics industry. But what's most exciting, it has a massive competitive moat, locking in its value for investors who get in right away. To my knowledge, there isn't a single company on Earth that can replicate its unique graphene nanobot technology. I'm going to reveal the stock in 15 seconds, but before I do that, I want to remind you to sign up for my free report on the top 10 stocks to buy and hold forever. This report comes with no gimmicks, no get-rich-quick nonsense, just solid long-term investments you can actually feel confident owning. Click the link in the description to get your copy right now. The graphene stock being pitched here is DOTS Nano, and it's an over-the-counter stock with the symbol DTZZF. Here's everything you need to know about this company, and after I'll tell you if I'd buy. DOTS Nano operates with two core technologies that share a single mission: tackling global challenges through innovation. The first, DOTS Earth, focuses on advanced carbon capture materials designed to remove CO2 directly from the air and capture emissions from industrial processes in a more energy-efficient way. The second, DOTS Shield, provides nanoscale authentication markers that act as invisible tags within products, helping industries such as oil and gas verify authenticity and protect against counterfeiting. Together, these technologies aim to create cleaner industries and safer supply chains. DOTS Nano is targeting two massive global problems with its technology. On one side is the climate crisis, where governments around the world are mandating carbon reduction, and industries face urgent pressure to decarbonize. On the other side is the epidemic of counterfeiting, with global fraud losses exceeding $4.5 trillion each year, and supply chain integrity becoming more critical than ever. By addressing both challenges, DOTS positions itself at the intersection of two markets with enormous demand for solutions. Momentum is beginning to build for DOTS Nano as it moves from research to early commercialization. In the lab, its CO2 capture materials have shown stronger energy efficiency compared to competing solutions, highlighting their potential advantage. The company also recorded its first commercial sales in late 2024 with DOTS Shield in the oil and gas sector, marking an important step toward revenue generation. Looking ahead, DOTS is preparing to enter a scale-up phase, with carbon capture field demonstrations planned over the next 2 years to prove the technology in real-world settings. DOTS Nano's financial picture reflects the challenges of an early-stage company. In 2024, it operated in a pre-revenue development phase and reported a net loss, underscoring the costs of building out its technology. By 2025, the company reached its first commercial sales milestone, marking an important step toward generating revenue. However, with limited cash reserves, DOTS remains highly dependent on continued funding from investors to sustain operations and drive its growth initiatives. Investing in DOTS Nano comes with notable risks that potential shareholders should weigh carefully. The company has significant funding needs, which could lead to shareholder dilution as it raises additional capital. Its technology, while promising, is still in the early stages of development, and the ability to scale it commercially has yet to be proven. DOTS also operates in a highly competitive environment where larger, well-funded rivals have more resources at their disposal. As a small-cap stock, it is subject to considerable market volatility, meaning investors should expect significant price fluctuations along the way. Despite the risks, DOTS Nano offers notable upside potential if its strategy succeeds. Strong climate policy tailwinds, including carbon pricing, industrial emission mandates, and government incentives, could drive demand for its carbon capture solutions. The company's technology is designed to scale across multiple industry verticals, creating opportunities for broader market expansion. With proprietary nanotechnology and an early foothold in both carbon capture and product authentication, DOTS holds a potential first-mover advantage that could translate into long-term growth if execution goes as planned. DOTS Nano represents a classic high-risk, high-reward investment. Its breakthrough technology has the potential to tap into two large markets: carbon capture and product authentication, offering significant opportunities if successful. At the same time, the company faces early-stage challenges, including heavy reliance on funding and ongoing execution risks. For investors, this makes DOTS a speculative play best suited for those with a long-term horizon and a strong tolerance for risk. So what do I think about investing in DOTS Nano? On the surface, the company looks exciting. Cutting-edge science, bold claims, and a big potential market. But when you dig deeper, there are some real challenges investors need to think about. Let's start with the positives. The science is definitely cool. DOTS is working with nanotechnology, materials at the tiniest scale, that could have applications in things like carbon capture, advanced coatings, and even security features. They've developed some interesting proprietary tech, and that's what draws people in. There's no question the company is innovative. But here's the reality check. This technology is not even close to being commercially viable. Having a promising idea in the lab is one thing. Scaling it up into something reliable, cost-effective, and mass-produced is another challenge entirely. That transition takes years, sometimes decades, and a whole lot of money. And that's the next issue. Bringing this to market will cost a ton of money. DOTS Nano will likely need to raise capital over and over again, which can mean dilution for existing shareholders. On top of that, the company is up against much larger competitors with deeper pockets and more established customer bases. For a small cap player like this, the road ahead is tough. So, do I feel the need to make an investment here? Honestly, no. Graphene and advanced nanomaterials are still far away from widespread commercial adoption. Until there's clear evidence that DOTS Nano can move beyond cool science and actually generate meaningful revenue, I'd rather sit on the sidelines. Before you go, don't forget to grab my free report. The 10 stocks I believe you can buy today and hold forever. It's packed with solid long-term picks you won't hear hyped up anywhere else. Just click the link in the description, enter your email, and I'll send it straight to you.